1 minute to go. If here's a whole bunch of background noise. Where is that from?
Adam, if you can, put everyone on mute.
There we go. Well, good evening, everyone. Welcome to this May 11th council meeting here held electronically. First off, I would like to do a roll call. Do we have, and as I say your name, say present, please, or here. Councillor Van Betju.
Present.
Councillor Wheeler.
Here.
Councillor Bailey.
Here.
Councillor Richards.
Here.
Councillor Chessel.
Here.
Councillor Mickle. Councillor Mickle. I believe is here. We'll come back to that. Councillor City Clerk Richter. Are you present?
Here.
Director of Engineering Wilkinson.
Present.
Director of Finance Missile.
Here.
Amanda Kaufman. And we also have Leisure Services Crow that will join us periodically. Councillor Mickle, are you here?
Yes, I am.
Okay, there we go. Can I have a motion to allow remote electronic council meeting, please?
Your worship, this is Councillor Wheeler. I'd like to make the motion that the city council suspend the rules of order as set out in the city of Weyburn council procedure bylaw to allow this for the city of Weyburn, or the city council and city administration to participate in a regular meeting of city council this 11th day of May 2020.
You have a second?
Your worship, it's Councilor Chestel. I'll second that.
We have any discussion? Hearing none. Councillor Van Betju, how do you vote?
Yes.
Councillor Wheeler?
Yes.
Councillor Bailey?
Yes.
Councillor Richards?
Yes.
Councillor Chessel?
Yes.
Councillor Mickle?
Yes.
Mayor Roy? Yes. Unanimous to go forward. Motion to approve the minutes of regular council meeting, strategic meeting, and planning and priorities meeting held on April 27th, 2020. Do I have a motion, please?
This is Councillor Bailey. I would make the motion that the minutes of the regular council meeting and the strategic planning and priority meeting held April 27th, 2020 be approved.
This is Councillor Mickle, and I second that motion.
Discussion? Seeing none, call a question. Councillor Van Betju, how do you approve this?
Yes.
Councillor Wheeler?
Yes.
Councillor Bailey?
Yes.
Councillor Richards?
Yes.
Councillor Chessel?
Yes.
Councillor Mickle?
Yes.
And Mayor Roy? Yes. Approved unanimously. Moving forward, we have, are there any additions to the agenda? Mr. Warren?
Your worship, it's City Manager Warren. We have no additions tonight.
Members of council, any additions? Seeing none, we move forward. There's no public hearings and notices. And at this time, we have a proclamation, the Naturopathic Medicine Week. And so the proclamation is read. This is a proclamation of Naturopathic Medicine Week, May 24th to the 30th, 2020. Whereas May 24th, 2024 to May 30th, 2020 is marked as Naturopathic Medicine Week across Saskatchewan and Canada. And whereas naturopathic medicine is a form of primary care medicine that blends century-old natural, non-toxic therapies with current advances in the study of health and human systems, covering all aspects of family health from prenatal to geriatric care. And whereas naturopathic medicine concentrates on whole patient wellness, the medicine is tailored to the patient and emphasizes prevention and self-care and factors in physical and social, environmental, emotional, and spiritual factors. And whereas more residents of Saskatchewan are seeking science-based, valid complementary health care, and whereas the mission of the Saskatchewan Association of Naturopathic Doctors is to provide people with the health benefits of regulated, highly qualified, leading-edge naturopathic medicine in Saskatchewan. Now, therefore, I, Marcel Roy, Mayor of Weyburn, do hereby proclaim this week of May 24th to the 30th of May 2020 as Naturopathic Medicine Week in the city of Weyburn, and I urge all citizens of our community to cooperate with and participate in activities sponsored by this group. And I am now signing that petition and proclamation. Therefore, moving forward, we have the consent agenda, the utilities report, the tax collection report, water treatment plant report, and building report. A motion, please, to adopt these. Motion to accept all these reports, please. Councilor Richards, were you making that motion? You're on mute.
Sorry about that, Your Worship. I thought I had unmuted it. Maybe I hit it twice. I would make a motion that the items on the consent agenda be approved as presented.
Do you have a second, please?
Your worship, is Councillor Van Betjen, and I will second that motion.
Do we have any discussion? Hearing none, call the question. Councilor Van Betjen, do you
Yes.
vote? Councilor Wheeler,
Yes.
Councilor Bailey,
Yes.
Councilor Richards,
Yes.
Councilor Chessel,
Yes.
Councilor Mickle,
Yes.
Mayor Roy, yes. Motions, accounts payable.
Your
Coun-
worship, it's Councillor Chessel. I'll move that the purchases in the amount of $756,771.12 from April 23rd to May 6th, 2020 be approved.
Do you have a second?
Your worship, this is Councilor Wheeler. I will second that motion.
Discussion? Hearing none. How do you vote? Mr. Van Betjen,
Yes.
Mr. Wheeler,
Yes.
Mr. Bailey,
Yes.
Mr. Richards,
Yes.
Mr. Chessel,
Yes.
Councilor Mickle,
Yes.
Mayor Roy, yes. Passed unanimously. We have accounts payable with pecuniary interest.
This is Councillor Mickle making the motion.
Just wait, Mr. Mickle.
I'm sorry.
Just
Sorry,
wait.
Your Worship, it's Councillor Chessel. I have interest in this matter and I will not be voting.
I apologize, Your Worship.
Okay, move forward, Mr. Mickle.
Councillor Mickle, make this motion that the purchase dated April 27, 2020, in the amount of $16.64, where pecuniary interest has been disclosed, be passed for payment.
Do you have a second?
This is Councilor Richards. I'll second that, Your Worship.
Any discussion? Seeing none, how do you vote, Mr. Van Betjen?
Yes.
Mr. Wheeler,
Yes.
Mr. Bailey,
Yes.
Mr. Richards,
Yes.
Mr. Mickle,
Yes.
Mayor Roy, yes. Passed unanimously. Moving forward, there's no introduction of bylaws, and we now move forward to the to debate and discuss the bid for the Westback Industrial for the supply of a 2021 Freightliner M2-106, and to include an armed cycle counter in the amount of $305 and the auxiliary arm controls in the amount of $679 to be used as a refuge collection vehicle in the amount of $307,966.04 without trade be accepted. We're bringing this one back onto the floor.
Your worship, I'd like to make a motion that the resolution number 2020-53 moved and seconded at the April 14th, 2020 regular council meeting that was tabled to the April 27th council meeting, and then again tabled to the May 11th council meeting, be returned to the table for consideration and read as follows. Moved by Councillor Bailey and seconded by Councillor Chessel, that the bid of Westvac Industrial Limited for the supply of a 2021 Freightliner M2-106 and to include an arm cycle counter in the amount of $305 and auxiliary arm controls in the amount of $679 to be used as a refuge collection vehicle in the amount of $307,966.04 without trade be accepted.
This is Councillor Bailey. I will second that motion.
Call the question. Mr. Van Betju?
Yes, your worship. I will support this. I don't know that there's.
Actually,
No, this is
Councillor Van Betchit, we just need to vote on bringing it back on the floor and then
Okay,
you could
sorry.
discuss.
I'm sorry.
That's okay.
Yes, I vote yes.
Councillor Wheeler?
Yes.
Councillor Bailey?
Yes.
Councillor Richards?
Yes.
Councillor Chessel?
Yes.
Councillor Mickle?
Yes.
Mayor Roy? Yes. We now have the question whether we're going to accept this motion, this amount or not. So here's the discussion is open to discussion. Mr. Van Betju, what do you wish to speak to?
Yes, your worship. I will support the motion. I don't see that there's a big rush to go ahead and order it right away with the economic climate, but I think I would give the administration the will and the direction to go ahead and purchase it when they see fit in the upcoming few months.
Is there any other discussion?
Your worship, if I may, it's Councillor Richards.
Go ahead.
Yeah, I would echo Councillor Van Betju here. I'm going to support the motion as well because we asked the administration to do a lot of work in explaining themselves and their decision making to us with regards to this unit, and I appreciate that, and I fully understand the work that they did. So I'm going to support the motion, although I am also conscious that we are entering into pretty unknown territory here in terms of our economy, and I would ask that administration be diligent in the ordering of this and the timing of the order.
Any other discussion? Mr. Bailey?
I would have a question, and I will support the motion with the knowledge that we had and the breakdown of what we had. I like what Councillor Van Betju and Councillor who else? Jeff Richards said. If we wait, I guess my only question to Matthew or to those who would know, if we waited on this a month or two, would it change our bid?
Matthew?
Yes.
Like the bid amount?
Yes, so I'll speak to that. So it wouldn't change the bid amount. You guys would have to go back to a retendering if that's the way you want to go. The prices, I don't see changing for these kind of specialized vehicles, even with what's happening in the world right now. I can't see a change in the price to a refuse truck because it's such a specialized piece of equipment, and it's not like a whole bunch of people are developing them in Western Canada or in Canada. So I don't see a price change occurring at all if you wait or not.
Thank you. Yep, thank you.
Your worship, Councillor Chessel here. I guess I do wonder, price changing, would the US dollar affect it though? Or is this locked in at this price.
So to answer that, so this is City Manager Warren again. I don't know where they're getting anything from the States on this and how that would change on that. I can't answer that question fully, but the dollar right now is fluctuating. We see that every day. Once again, I don't see a huge change on anything that happens with the American or Canadian dollar to affect the pricing you're seeing right now.
Any other comments?
Yes, Your Worship, Councillor Mickle. Your Worship, I want to thank our engineering staff, Jennifer and her team, for putting this out to the public and to council for their final call on this. Things can happen, and I'm going to rely on our administration team to look after this for us. We have very good people there. We have a good team effort and showing with what you've given us. So I'll totally support this motion, and let's move forward.
I had kind of some of the questions that I was kind of thinking about was that we have this money set aside. This is in our fleet budget. Even if there was some sort of economic change, this money is not, a fleet budget is not one that we can draw from to run the city. We are in good shape for running the city. We've already saved this money set aside for this. We're going to go forward. I don't know what the future months are going to bring for us, but at this point in time, we need to continue on as we are doing business as is. We are very watchful, and a lot of other projects we're working on, so we are still moving forward. So I'll say that I would support this and moving forward. So hearing no other discussion, I will call the question. How do you vote, Mr. Van Betju? Are you for the motion to purchase the truck?
Yes.
Go ahead. Mr. Van Betju?
Yes.
Mr. Wheeler?
Yes.
Mr. Bailey?
Yes.
Mr. Richards?
Yes.
Mr. Chessel?
Yes.
Mr. Mickle?
Yes.
Mayor Roy? Yes. Passed unanimously. We are then moving on. That brings us to any new business, the police budget overage.
Thank you, Mayor Roy. City Manager Warren, I can report on this if you guys want me to go through this report.
Go ahead.
Thank you. At the April 21st Police Commission meeting, Acting Chief Rod Stafford provided an update to the police commissioners on the 2019 budget. And during that budget year, so last year, they had a budget overage. So a little background, as per the Police Act, within Section 33(6), it states that no board shall, without prior approval of the council, A, authorize expenditure of any monies in excess of the gross amount of the estimates approved by the council, or B, authorize any expenditures of monies for any matter or purposes not included in the estimates. So right now we're finalizing our wrapping up our 2019 budget, and so some things that we showed from the police budget. One is within the revenues. They are under by $82,227, and expenditures are over by $112,183. So net is $194,410. So explanation behind both. One, revenues are less than expected due to fund revenues and grants not achieving budgeted amounts, and within expenses being more than expected, police force being overstrength due to upcoming retirements, and additional under budgeted wages and resources that went towards a homicide investigation that happened in 2019. So based on everything that's provided within this, there's some recommendations coming back, one to the Police Commission and two to Council. So the very first thing is that the Director of Finance, Misal, and Police Chief Blunden establish a monthly financial update process. This process would be reviewed and improved by the Weyburn Police Commissioners. So right now there's a quarterly update provided. I'm just recommending that a monthly process be updated as well, but that'd be something that would have to be approved by the board. And two, that the Weyburn City Council fund the Weyburn Police Services 2019 budget overage of $194,410 through general operating and general reserves if required.
And speaking as the head of the police commission, director of finance, we received out of that 200,000, that was the overage, or the 194, we received how much in fine revenue? Laura?
Sorry, can you
145?
repeat that?
Pardon me?
Can you repeat that?
Like we had an overage. As it started off, we had an overage of about $220,000, but this was brought down because we received payment, right, on some
Yeah,
revenue that was not
so we
given.
received some fine payment that hadn't came in yet from the province.
So basically, we're down. We have an overage of 60,000 for the homicide investigation, and then we also have approximately another 90,000. That was basically is basically what we're out. Is that not right?
No, these are the right figures in here that we've presented.
194,000.
Yeah.
Okay. Good. Okay. Any other questions, Mr. Richards?
Your worship, just so we can continue the discussion, I'll get a motion on the table.
Sure.
I'll make a motion that the 2019 Weyburn Police Service budget overage in the amount of $194,410 be funded from the City of Weyburn's general operating and, if required, general reserves, pending the final City of Weyburn audit, as per recommendation of the city manager.
Do I have a second, please?
Yes, this is Councillor Van Betje, and I will second that motion.
Discussion?
Your worship,
Yes,
this
Mr.
is
Mickle.
Councillor Mickle. I'd like to address this question to the people that sit on the police commission. First of all, I think our police force in Weyburn is one of the best in Canada, and they've done a tremendous job for us. This question is not to point fingers at anybody, but just clarification to myself and to the general public of why the overage. Now, I know Marlo Pritchard was with us for 7 years, and his last day was September 22nd, 2019. Would some of this have to do with having new people at the helm and maybe not knowing the strategy that Marlo was trying to work with in that year? Is that part of the situation that we're going through?
I think part of the reason that it ended up, like we said, we have one of the things was simply that we had to, there's multiple reasons. Number one, we had a overage due to the homicide investigation. Second thing, we had a lot of, we were getting prepared for some recruitment, extra recruitment due to retirements. Onto there, we had a contract that was settled out, and we hadn't, there wasn't figures figured out for the amount of money that was going to be paid out for that. We were short on that. Plus, then also general fine revenue was overestimated, and that didn't come through. So there was multiple things. I agree with Mr. Moran's recommendations. We're going to take a look at being closely, instead of quarterly, we're going to do monthly monitoring, making sure that things are on track onto this, and keep with the new chief, Blunden, and watch as it closely monitoring this monthly fees here.
This is Councillor Van Betje. In response to that, Councillor Mickle, the fact that Chief Marlo Pritchard had left in September, I feel had nothing to do with the budget overage at all. It may have affected the timing on the reporting being a little bit later than it normally would have. But I think Acting Chief Stafford, he worked with the budget he had, and it really he had no bearing on the extra expenditures. There were a lot of one-off costs that we're not going to come across every year. So no, I don't think that had anything to do with it at all.
Any other questions? Mr. Richards?
Thanks, Your Worship. Just because I also sit on commission and Councillor Mickle directed that question to us all. Thanks for your question, Councillor Mickle. And I would concur 100% with Councillor Van Betju. I don't think the departure of Chief Pritchard had any impact to this. I think what we've seen was just exactly that, a set of circumstances that was, I guess you could say, a perfect storm, with homicide going a little bit over strength in anticipation of some staffing changes, and then a shortfall in revenues. Those things happen. So I think that's a short and sweet explanation for how we got to here, and certainly not something that we take lightly either.
Your worship, I want to thank you yourself, your worship, Councillor Van Betju, Councillor Richards, for giving the public and myself the information. And I want to thank you, gentlemen, for sitting on the police commission. It is a tough job, but you're doing a great job, and we have a good leader in there with a new chief coming. And again, I thank you so much.
Thank you. So with that motion, do we have can we have a call to question then? Councillor Van Betju, how do you vote?
Yes.
Councillor Wheeler?
Yes.
Councillor Bailey?
Yes.
Councillor Richards?
Yes.
Councillor Chessel?
Yes.
Councillor Mickle?
Yes.
Mayor Roy? Yes. So passed. Which brings us now down to the end of the meeting, which we are looking at. Are there any inquiries and announcements? We'll have the one announcement is, go ahead, Mr. Richards.
I was just going to put a big shout out to Councillor Chessel, who has put together Weyburn Gift Card Week this week. And he's built a great website. What he's done here is a way for us to support our business community right now. These are the businesses that, like I said the other day, they sponsor our kids' hockey teams. They give jobs to us and our friends and family in the community. So I'll get Councillor Chessel to give you the website and all of the details about it. And then I'm going to disconnect the internet from my house because I believe my wife has already spent our annual shopping budget on gift cards today. So with that, I will check out.
Mr. Chessel?
Thanks, Councillor Richards. Yeah, just launched today. So far, so good response from the community. Just everyone check out the website, Weyburn Gift Card Days. Many of the businesses have the banner up. I know I tried today to buy a few, but looks like I'll be doing it tonight, sending emails and going online because I was busy myself at work selling a few. So yeah, check it out. Like Councillor Richard said, this supports our community. These are the business supporting us. So let's show them the support.
So in the one announcement, so that all the councillors and the citizens also know, I will be attending a Zoom meeting all day Thursday with the mayor's caucus. And this is the new kind of step forward, seeing that we're all getting used to Zoom. We were supposed to have our meeting in Yorkton, but due to the COVID, they won't move forward with the Zoom. But as we're learning how to do this, the MOS, or municipalities of Saskatchewan, the old SUMA, is now decided that we're probably going to be doing 2 Zoom meetings and only 1 mayor's meeting, where we actually all get together. And this is just a new way of doing business, saving a lot of cost in travels, cost in hotels, cost in that. So there's a huge cost savings going back to all the cities by learning how to do the Zoom and have a lot of our meetings. So that is, we've learned a lot. So some of the good that has come out of this is that we've really learned how to do Zoom, and it's saving tremendous amount of money for the cities along the way. This year also too, we're not going to be attending the FCM meeting. We're not going to be attending the police governance meetings away. There's a huge amount of meetings that are being canceled to it. So there's a lot of savings all along that way also. So that is what's going on with a lot of our administrative meetings. Any other announcements? Hearing none, then I will just thank everyone for attending. Thank all those who have tuned in to watch, and I call this meeting adjourned.